The day Earth discovered it wasn't alone in the universe started like any other. People went about their daily lives, unaware that everything was about to change. It was a sunny Tuesday morning when strange signals appeared on screens at SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, headquarters. At first, the scientists thought it was a glitch. But as hours passed, the signals grew stronger and clearer. There was no doubt. This was a message from space. Dr. Sarah Chen, the lead scientist, couldn't believe her eyes. Her hand shook as she picked up the phone to call the president. "Mr. President," she said, her voice trembling, "we've made contact." Within hours, the news spread across the globe. People gathered in streets, looking up at the sky with a mix of fear and wonder. World leaders held emergency meetings, trying to decide what to do next. Then, 3 days after the first signal, it happened. A massive spaceship, unlike anything humans had ever seen, appeared in Earth's orbit. It was so big it could be seen from the ground with the naked eye, a shining dot moving across the night sky. The ship sent a message to all of Earth's communication systems. The aliens called themselves the Galactic Empire. They said they had been watching Earth for a long time and decided it was time to make contact. The Empire's message was clear. They wanted Earth to join them. They promised to share advanced technology, cure diseases, and end poverty. It sounded too good to be true. People around the world reacted differently. Some were excited about the possibilities. Others were scared, worried about losing Earth's independence. Debates raged on TV, online, and in homes everywhere. The United Nations called an emergency session. Representatives from every country gathered to discuss the Empire's offer. The meeting lasted for days, with heated arguments and tense negotiations. Meanwhile, the Empire's ship stayed in orbit, a constant reminder of the decision Earth faced. Some people reported strange dreams and feelings of being watched. Others claimed to see smaller ships zipping across the sky. Scientists worked around the clock to learn more about the Empire. They studied the alien signals and the few images they had of the massive ship. What they found was both exciting and terrifying. The Empire's technology was far beyond anything on Earth. Their ship could travel faster than light, something Earth scientists had thought impossible. They had the power to reshape planets and control the weather. But there were also worrying signs. The Empire's message talked about uplifting other species, but it didn't say much about what happened to planets that refused to join. Some people wondered if Earth would have a real choice. As days turned into weeks, tension on Earth grew. There were protests in major cities, with some people demanding that Earth join the Empire, while others insisted on staying independent. Governments struggled to keep order as fear and excitement spread. Then, something unexpected happened. A group of hackers managed to intercept more of the Empire's communications. What they found shocked everyone. The hackers discovered that the Empire wasn't as perfect as it claimed. There were records of rebellions on other planets, of species that had lost their cultures after joining. The Empire's peace came at a high price: total obedience. This new information changed everything. People who had been excited about joining the Empire now had second thoughts. World leaders who had been close to accepting the offer stepped back. As the deadline for Earth's decision approached, the planet was more divided than ever. The future of humanity hung in the balance. Would Earth join the Galactic Empire and gain incredible technology, but lose its freedom? Or would it refuse and risk the Empire's anger? In homes, schools, and government buildings around the world, people held their breath. The next few days would determine the fate of humanity. Little did they know, Earth was about to make a decision that would shock the entire galaxy. The world held its breath as global leaders gathered for the final vote. After weeks of debate, it was time for Earth to decide its fate. Would humanity join the Galactic Empire or choose to stand alone? The meeting took place in a large, secure room at the United Nations headquarters in New York. Leaders from every country sat around a massive table, their faces tense with the weight of their decision. Cameras broadcast the historic moment to billions of people watching at home. As the voting began, a strange silence fell over the room. One by one, each leader cast their vote. The whole process took hours, but nobody dared to leave. This was the most important decision in human history. Finally, the last vote was cast. The room buzzed with nervous energy as the votes were counted. Then, the UN Secretary General stood up to announce the result. The world waited, hearts pounding. By a majority vote, the Secretary General said, her voice echoing in the silent room, Earth has decided to reject the Galactic Empire's offer. For a moment, everything was quiet. Then, chaos erupted. Some leaders cheered, while others shouted in anger. Outside, crowds in the streets exploded with a mix of joy and fear. Earth had made its choice. Against all odds, humanity had decided to stay independent. The reasons for the decision were complex. Many feared losing Earth's unique cultures and freedoms. Others didn't trust the Empire's promises. The leaked information about rebellions on other planets had played a big role in swaying opinions. But now came the hard part, telling the Empire. A team of Earth's best diplomats was chosen for this dangerous task. Led by Ambassador Maria Rodriguez, they prepared to face the Empire's representatives. The meeting was set to take place on the International Space Station, now upgraded with special rooms for alien visitors. As the diplomats traveled to the space station, the Empire's massive ship loomed above Earth, a constant reminder of the power humanity was defying. Inside the space station, Ambassador Rodriguez and her team waited nervously. When the Empire's representatives entered, everyone gasped. The aliens were tall, with shimmering skin and eyes that seemed to glow. They moved with a grace that seemed impossible in the station's low gravity. "Greetings," the lead alien said, its voice sounding like music. "We are eager to welcome Earth into our great empire. When shall we begin the integration process?" Ambassador Rodriguez took a deep breath. This was the moment of truth. "Respected representatives of the Galactic Empire," she said, her voice steady despite her fear. "On behalf of Earth, I must inform you that we have decided to decline your offer." The aliens' reaction was immediate and frightening. Their shimmering skin turned dark, and their glowing eyes flashed with anger. "Impossible," the lead alien shouted. "No planet has ever refused to join the Empire." For the next few hours, the Earth diplomats explained their decision. They talked about humanity's love for freedom, the value of cultural diversity, and their desire to progress on their own terms. The aliens listened, but their anger didn't fade. "You will regret this decision," the lead alien said as they prepared to leave. The Empire does not take rejection lightly. As news of the meeting spread across Earth, reactions were mixed. Many people felt proud of standing up to the Empire, but others were terrified of the consequences. Governments around the world sprang into action. They knew the Empire might not accept their decision peacefully. Military forces were put on high alert. Scientists worked day and night to improve Earth's defenses, trying to find ways to protect the planet against the Empire's advanced technology. In homes and schools, people started to prepare for possible hard times ahead. They stored food, learned survival skills, and came up with plans to help each other if things got tough. But even in this time of fear, there was a sense of unity like never before. For the first time in history, all of humanity was truly working together. People put aside old conflicts, focusing instead on the challenge they all faced. As Earth braced itself for the Empire's response, one thing was clear: humanity's greatest test was just beginning. The whole galaxy was about to learn that Earthlings were not to be underestimated. The massive Galactic Empire ship hung in Earth's orbit like a shining, silent threat. For days after Earth's rejection, nothing happened. The silence was worse than any attack. People on Earth waited, wondering what the Empire would do next. Then, exactly 1 week after Earth said no, the Empire made its move. It started with a message. Every screen on Earth, TVs, phones, computers, suddenly showed the face of the Empire's leader. He called himself the Grand Emperor, and he did not look happy. "People of Earth," the Grand Emperor said, his voice deep and angry, "you have made a grave mistake. No one refuses the Empire. You will join us, or you will be sorry." The message played over and over for an hour. When it finally stopped, panic spread across the world. People rushed to stores to buy food and supplies. Some tried to build underground shelters. Others just hugged their loved ones, fearing the worst. World leaders quickly came together again. They needed a plan to deal with the Empire's threat. In a secret underground bunker, presidents, prime ministers, and military chiefs met to discuss Earth's options. General Zhang of China stood up first. "We must show the Empire we're not afraid," she said. "Let's use our strongest weapons to attack their ship." But others disagreed. Dr. Mbeki from South Africa shook his head. "Our weapons are like toys to them," he warned. "Attacking would only make them angrier." As the leaders argued, something unexpected happened. The Empire's ship started to move. It left Earth's orbit and headed towards Mars. Everyone watched in confusion. What were they doing? The answer came 3 days later. The Empire used its advanced technology to move Mars closer to Earth. The red planet now hung in the sky, looking as big as the moon. It was both beautiful and terrifying. "This is what we can do," the Grand Emperor's voice boomed from the sky. "Join us, and we'll share this power. Refuse, and we'll use it against you." Fear spread across Earth again. But this time, something else grew alongside the fear. Anger. People were getting tired of the Empire's threats. They didn't like being bullied. In cities around the world, huge crowds gathered. They carried signs saying things like "Earth stands strong," and "We choose freedom." The biggest protest was in New York, right outside the United Nations building. Millions of people filled the streets, all shouting one word: no. The UN quickly called another meeting. This time, they invited regular people to speak, not just leaders. One by one, people from different countries stood up to share their thoughts. A farmer from India spoke first. "We may not have fancy spaceships," he said, "but we have something the Empire doesn't understand: the human spirit. We won't give up our freedom, no matter what." Next, a young student from Brazil stood up. "The Empire thinks they can scare us by moving planets," she said. "But they don't realize that every threat they make only brings us closer together. We are stronger united than they could ever imagine." As more people spoke, a plan started to form. Earth couldn't match the Empire's technology, but humans were creative and determined. They would find other ways to stand up to the Empire. Scientists suggested using Earth's satellites to disrupt the Empire's communications. Hackers offered to try breaking into the Empire's computer systems. Others proposed reaching out to the planets that had rebelled against the Empire, looking for allies. The UN voted again. This time, the decision was unanimous. Earth would not only refuse to join the Empire, but it would actively resist. When the Grand Emperor's face appeared on screens again, demanding an answer, Earth was ready. The UN Secretary-General stood before a camera, with millions watching around the world. "To the Galactic Empire," she said, her voice firm, "we have made our decision. Earth chooses freedom. We will not join you today, tomorrow, or ever. Your threats do not scare us. They only make us stronger." As she spoke, people around the world cheered. For the first time since the Empire arrived, hope was stronger than fear. Humans realized that even against a powerful alien empire, they had a chance. Because when humans stand together, they can do amazing things. The Empire's response to this defiance was coming. But now, Earth was ready to face whatever came next. After Earth's bold refusal to join the Galactic Empire, the planet buzzed with activity. Everyone knew they had to get ready for whatever the Empire might do next. It was time for Earth to prepare. In every country, people worked together like never before. Old enemies became friends, and rivals joined forces. The whole world had one goal: to protect Earth and its freedom. Scientists from different countries started sharing their secrets. In a big lab in Switzerland, they worked day and night on new inventions. Dr. Yuki Tanaka from Japan had an idea for an energy shield to protect cities. Dr. Mohammed Al-Fayed from Egypt thought of a way to make invisible paint for ships and planes. "We may not have alien technology," Dr. Tanaka said, wiping sweat from her forehead, "but human creativity is our superpower." Meanwhile, in Silicon Valley, the world's best computer experts gathered. They were trying to understand and copy some of the empire's technology. It was like solving the hardest puzzle ever. Jake Chen, a young hacker from San Francisco, made a big breakthrough. He found a way to listen to the empire's secret messages. "Guys, I'm in," he shouted one day, jumping from his chair. His discovery would help Earth understand the empire's plans. But it wasn't just scientists and tech experts who were busy. Regular people everywhere were doing their part too. In Brazil, farmers learned how to grow food faster and in tough conditions. They wanted to make sure everyone would have enough to eat if the empire attacked. In Kenya, doctors trained people in every village to give basic medical care. They knew hospitals might be targets if a war started. Schools changed what they taught. Kids still learned math and reading, but they also learned survival skills and how to stay calm in scary situations. In one school in Australia, a teacher named Mrs. Olivia Brown started a space pen pal program. Kids wrote letters to imaginary alien friends, explaining why Earth's freedom was important. "If we can understand the empire, maybe we can find a peaceful solution," Mrs. Brown said. Governments around the world were busy too. They built underground shelters and secret bases. Some were deep in mountains, others hidden under the sea. These would keep people safe and let leaders keep working if the empire attacked. The military of every country trained hard. They knew their weapons were no match for the empire's technology, so they practiced guerrilla tactics and clever tricks. General Sarah O'Connor from Ireland had an idea to use Earth's oceans as a hidden highway for submarines. "The empire looks to the skies," she said, "but we'll surprise them from the depths." As weeks passed, Earth started to look different. Wind turbines and solar panels popped up everywhere as people rushed to find energy sources the empire couldn't easily destroy. Gardens appeared on rooftops and in empty lots as communities grew their own food. But the biggest change was in how people treated each other. Neighbors who had never spoken before now worked together on community projects. Rich people shared their wealth to help build defenses. Poor people shared their skills and time. In New York City, a wealthy businessman named Robert Chung surprised everyone. He turned his penthouse into a public garden and astronomy center. "We need to understand the stars now more than ever," he said at the opening ceremony. Not everything went smoothly, of course. There were arguments about the best way to prepare. Some people were still scared and wanted to give in to the empire, but most stayed strong and worked hard to get ready. One day, about 2 months after Earth said no to the empire, something amazing happened. The International Space Station, now bigger and better than ever, sent back a special picture. It showed Earth from space, but the planet looked different. You could see the new energy shields shimmering around major cities. Forests had grown where there used to be empty land. And written in huge letters on the Sahara Desert was a message: "Earth united, Earth free." When people saw this image, they cheered and hugged each other in the streets. For the first time, many felt real hope. Yes, the empire was powerful. Yes, the fight ahead would be hard. But Earth was no longer just a planet of separate countries. It was one world, united and ready. As the sun set that day, people looked up at the sky. The Empire's ship was still there, a dark spot against the stars. But it didn't seem as scary anymore. Earth was prepared, and its people were ready to face whatever came next. 3 months after Earth's defiant stand against the Galactic Empire, the day everyone feared finally arrived. Early one morning, thousands of Empire ships appeared in the sky. They surrounded Earth like a metal shell, blocking out the sun in many places. People around the world looked up in fear and awe. The Empire's show of force was terrifying. But instead of panic, a strange calm spread across Earth. Humans had prepared for this moment. Now, it was time to see if their preparations would work. The Empire's message came loud and clear, broadcast to every device on the planet. The Grand Emperor's face filled screens everywhere. "People of Earth," he said, his voice cold and threatening, "this is your last chance. Surrender now, or face the consequences." In the secret underground command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, Earth's leaders gathered to respond. The room was tense. Some leaders looked scared, others determined. United Nations Secretary General Amara Okoro stood up, her face serious but calm. "We will not surrender," she said into the camera. "Earth chooses to remain free." As soon as she finished speaking, the Empire made its move. Giant ships positioned themselves over major cities. In New York, Tokyo, Lagos, and other big cities, people held their breath, waiting for an attack. But Earth was ready. As the Empire's ships charged their weapons, shimmering energy shields appeared over the cities. Dr. Tanaka's invention worked. The Empire fired, but their energy beams bounced off the shields. The Grand Emperor's face appeared on screens again. He looked shocked and angry. "Impossible," he shouted. "How did you primitive humans create such technology?" Earth didn't answer. Instead, they launched their own surprise. Thousands of small, fast ships shot out from hidden bases in the oceans. These ships, painted with the invisible paint Dr. Al-Fayed invented, zipped between the Empire's fleet. They were too small and quick for the Empire to hit. Meanwhile, on the ground, another plan was in action. Jake Chen and his team of hackers had been busy. Suddenly, the Empire's communication systems went crazy. Their ships started receiving thousands of fake messages, making it hard for them to coordinate. The Empire tried to regroup, but Earth had more surprises. From secret bases on the moon, built quietly over the past months, Earth launched special satellites. These satellites created a web around the planet, disrupting the Empire's sensors. For hours, the battle raged in space. The Empire had superior technology, but Earth's creativity and preparation kept them in the fight. Humans used every trick they had invented, from energy shields to hacking to invisible ships. As the fight went on, something unexpected happened. Some of the Empire's ships started to turn away. At first, people thought it was a trick. But then more ships left. Earth's defenders held their breath. Were they winning? The answer came from an unexpected source. Jake Chen, still working on the Empire's communications, made a shocking discovery. "Listen to this," he shouted to the leaders in the command center. He played a message he had intercepted. It was from an Empire ship captain to the Grand Emperor. "My lord," the captain said, sounding scared, "we cannot defeat them. These humans, they're unlike anything we've seen. We should retreat before we lose more ships." A cheer went up in the command center. Earth's plan was working. They hadn't just prepared to fight. They had shown the Empire that conquering Earth would be too difficult, too costly. More and more Empire ships started to leave. The Earth's energy shields still glowed. Its small ships still darted about, ready to defend if needed. But the attack was over. Finally, only the Grand Emperor's massive ship remained. For a long moment, it hung in the sky, a silent threat. Then, to everyone's shock, a message came through. "People of Earth," the Grand Emperor said, his voice no longer confident but filled with a mix of anger and respect, "you have done the impossible. You have resisted the Galactic Empire. We will leave your world for now. But know this, the galaxy will be watching Earth closely from now on." With that, the huge ship turned and disappeared into the depths of space. As the sky cleared, people came out of their homes and shelters. They looked up, amazed to see blue sky instead of Empire ships. Slowly, the truth sank in. Earth had stood up to the greatest power in the galaxy, and won. Cheers erupted around the world. In every city, village, and town, people hugged each other and danced in the streets. Earth was still free. But even as they celebrated, people knew this was just the beginning. Earth had shown the galaxy something important. Humans were stronger and smarter than anyone had guessed. Now, a new chapter in Earth's story was about to begin. The days following the Empire's retreat were filled with joy and wonder. People around the world celebrated their victory. But they also knew that everything had changed. Earth was no longer alone in the universe, and it had just proven itself to be a force to be reckoned with. In the weeks that followed, Earth's leaders met to discuss what to do next. They gathered in the newly built Global Unity Center in Geneva, a beautiful building with a dome that looked like a starry sky. "We've won the battle," said President Amina Okafor of Nigeria. "But now we must win the peace." The leaders agreed. They knew that the Empire might return one day, and Earth needed to be ready. But they also saw an opportunity. Earth had shown the galaxy its strength. Now it was time to show its wisdom. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the inventor of the energy shields, stood up to speak. "We've learned so much in preparing for the Empire," she said. "We shouldn't keep this knowledge to ourselves. We should share it with the world." Her words sparked an idea. Why stop at sharing with just Earth? If there were other planets out there, maybe Earth could help them too. And so, Operation Cosmic Handshake was born. Earth would reach out to other planets, offering friendship and help. They would share their technology and their story of standing up to the Empire. The first step was to build a way to talk to other planets. Scientists from all over the world came together to create the Interstellar Communication Array. This huge radio telescope, built in the Australian outback, could send messages deep into space. Jake Chen, the young hacker who had helped defeat the Empire, led the team to create a special message. It was simple but powerful. "Greetings from Earth. We come in peace and offer friendship to all free worlds." As the message was sent out into the stars, something amazing happened on Earth. People started to see beyond their old differences. Countries that had once been enemies now worked together on space projects. The old lines on maps started to mean less and less. 1 year after the Empire's defeat, the United Earth Council was formed. It wasn't a government that ruled the world, but a place where all countries could work together on big projects. The Council's first big project was to build Earth's first real spaceship. Unlike the small ships they had used to fight the Empire, this would be able to travel between stars. They called it the Hope, and it was built with technology from every corner of the Earth. As the Hope was being built, Earth received its first response to the Cosmic Handshake message. It came from a planet called Lumina, orbiting a star not too far from Earth. The Luminians were peaceful beings who had also stood up to the Empire long ago. "We hear your call, Earth," their message said. "And we are glad to know we are not alone in seeking freedom." This was just the beginning. More and more planets started to respond. Some were like Earth, having recently faced the Empire. Others had been free for a long time and offered to share their knowledge. Earth soon found itself at the center of a growing network of free planets. They called it the Galactic Freedom Alliance. Each world was different, with its own unique life and culture, but they all shared a love for freedom and a desire for peace. 2 years after the Empire's retreat, the Hope was ready for its first journey. Its mission was to visit Lumina and officially start Earth's friendship with another planet. The whole world watched as the ship took off, carrying humanity's hopes and dreams to the stars. As the Hope disappeared into the depths of space, people on Earth felt a new sense of purpose. They had not only protected their own freedom, but had started a movement that could change the whole galaxy. The Empire was still out there, still powerful, but it no longer seemed invincible. Earth and its new allies stood ready to protect freedom wherever it was threatened. Back in New York, in a small apartment, a young girl named Zara looked up at the night sky. She could see the stars much more clearly now, thanks to Earth's new clean energy systems. As she watched, a bright light moved across the sky. The Hope, on its way to meet new friends. Zara smiled. The universe was big and full of wonders, and humanity was ready to explore it. The future was bright, full of challenges and opportunities, and it all started because Earth dared to say no to an empire and yes to freedom. 5 years had passed since Earth's historic stand against the Galactic Empire. The universe had changed in ways no one could have imagined. Earth, once a small, isolated planet, was now at the center of a new galactic community. The Galactic Freedom Alliance, started by Earth's message of friendship, had grown into a powerful force for good in the universe. Over 100 planets had joined, each bringing its own unique skills and knowledge. On a beautiful spring day, representatives from all these worlds gathered on Earth for the first Galactic Freedom Summit. The meeting was held in the Global Unity Center in Geneva, its starry dome now complemented by holographic displays of distant planets. As leaders from across the galaxy filed in, the scene was breathtaking. There were tall, graceful beings from Lumina, Earth's first alien friends. Small, fuzzy creatures from the planet Zorb waddled in on 6 legs. Even a group of sentient gas clouds from Jupiter floated in, contained in special bubbles. United Earth Council President Zora Patel, the same Zora who had watched the Hope's first launch as a child, stood to welcome everyone. "Friends from across the stars," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "Welcome to Earth. 5 years ago, we stood alone against an empire. Today, we stand together for freedom." The summit's main goal was to discuss the future of the galaxy. The empire, while weakened, was still a threat. Some planets wanted to build a giant space army to fight them. Others, remembering Earth's clever defense, suggested focusing on protective technology instead. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, now head of Earth's Science Council, proposed a different idea. "We beat the empire not just with shields and ships," she said, "but with unity and creativity. Let's use those same tools to change the galaxy." Her plan was bold. A massive project to share knowledge and culture across the Alliance. This would include a galactic internet, translator devices for all species, and exchange programs for students to learn on other worlds. Jake Chen, the former hacker turned head of interstellar communications, backed her up. "The Empire's power comes from keeping planets separate and scared," he said. "Our strength is in bringing everyone together." The debate was long and sometimes heated. Some representatives worried about protecting their planet's secrets. Others feared moving too fast. But in the end, the majority agreed. The Galactic Freedom Alliance would focus on unity, knowledge, and cultural exchange. As the summit continued, amazing things happened. Scientists from different planets shared discoveries, leading to breakthroughs in medicine, energy, and space travel. Artists from across the galaxy collaborated, creating music and art unlike anything ever seen or heard before. But the most exciting moment came on the last day of the summit. A message arrived from a planet deep in Empire territory. They had heard about the Alliance and wanted to join. "We've lived under the Empire's rule for centuries," the message said, "but your example has given us courage. We want to be free too." The summit hall erupted in cheers. It was happening. Planets were starting to break away from the Empire, inspired by Earth's bravery. President Patel called for quiet. "This is a critical moment," she said. "How we respond will shape the future of the galaxy." After much discussion, the Alliance made its decision. They would welcome the new planet and help them transition to freedom. But they would do it peacefully, without attacking the Empire directly. "We'll show the galaxy that there's a better way than conquest," Patel announced. "We'll win hearts and minds, one planet at a time." As the summit ended, a sense of hope filled the air. Representatives returned to their homeworlds, carrying with them new friendships, new ideas, and a new vision for the future. Back on Earth, people celebrated. The planet that had once felt small and alone was now a beacon of hope for the entire galaxy. In schools, children learned about distant planets alongside Earth history. In laboratories, scientists worked with alien colleagues on projects that would benefit all worlds. And in homes across the planet, families looked up at the night sky, with a new sense of wonder and possibility. The Galactic Empire was still out there, still powerful, but it no longer seemed invincible. A new order was rising in the galaxy, one based on freedom, cooperation, and the simple idea that had started it all: the right to say no to tyranny and yes to friendship. As the sun set on the last day of the summit, President Patel stood at the window of the Global Unity Center. She watched the first stars appear in the darkening sky. Each one might be home to new friends, new adventures, new challenges. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear: humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning.